Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Can I get a roll tide inside the comment box? Today is Monday. It is March 31st. I appreciate you guys being here inside the comment box and joining the show today. Let me know where you're watching from. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Little stormy today, but we're going to push through and recap this Alabama basketball season. Crimson Tide fall to Duke in the Elite Eight. We'll also talk about Alabama's second scrimmage, which is this coming Friday. I hope you guys had time to enjoy your weekend. I know the basketball season didn't pan out the way that you wanted it to, but there are some high points. And we're not going to talk about moral victories, but we're going to talk about reality and where this program is at this current point in time, where they're going in the future. I also have a poll inside the comment box. Who do you think will be the toughest player to replace? And we'll talk about this a little bit more in depth on the back end, but definitely get inside the comment box. I have a poll going on. Toughest player to replace for next season. That's Mark Sears, Grant Nelson, and Cliff Amori. I would imagine it's between Sears and Nelson, but I threw in Amori. He's a big man that I think is critical in the overall development and the steps that Alabama wants to take moving forward. That's why I listed him. So welcome to the show. Appreciate you guys. Let me know where you're watching from inside the comment box. Thank you so much for always showing support. Don't be afraid to hit that thumbs up. Bama Still, what's up? See you inside the comment box. Thank you so much. Carrick, what's up, man? We were talking some Alabama hoops. I think he called it last week. Max Tooney, what's going on, man? Good morning to you. Miss Careless, always good to see you inside the comment box. Caitlin Childress says, roll tide. Robert, what's up, man? Says, good morning. Thunderstorms ranging across West Alabama this morning. Absolutely. They came in fact, the kids had a 2-hour delay this morning. Fromm is saying, what's up, Fromm? Good morning to you, bro. Mark Sears, need to go to the G League, more development. Byron says, with the poll, Sears is too short. We need taller players. Glad he's gone. Chris from New Jersey just straight up says, roll tide, roll. All right, appreciate you guys rocking here. And let's start at the top, okay? Look, Duke was straight up better. Let me just ask you inside the comment box, and I said this, I think, yesterday in my Grill and Chill video. I don't know if you had a chance to watch that. I feel that, and let me know if you agree with this, if Alabama and Duke played 10 times this season, that roster versus Alabama's roster, how many times do you think Alabama would beat Duke? Honestly, at first I said 10 out of 10. Then I came back and said 9 out of 10 times. The only time that Alabama is able to beat that Duke team is if they play the way that they played against BYU, which is basically like once in, I don't know, how do you ever play like that again? I don't know. That's the only way that you play Duke, and you're not really going to be able to be that effective because what did Duke have during the Elite Eight matchup? Phenomenal defense. They played perimeter defense exceptional. They were everywhere. Alabama never had an open shot. Against BYU, I don't know what was happening with BYU's defense. Maybe they just didn't have the athletes to get to the outside. I have no idea. But even as fast as Alabama is, because Alabama's an up-tempo type team, right? Mark Sears, Holloway, Phylon, those guys are lightning quick. Get it out to Youngblood, whatever. Usually some of those guys are open. There was nobody open. It was tough to hit. And when we had the screen of, Sears has to be hot. You have to have high-level play from Youngblood. You have to have great play from Grant Nelson. You have to have high-level play from Cliff Amori. None of those guys were hot. Duke did a great job shutting down each of those guys, every single one of them. Sears had 2 points at halftime. 2. Finished with 6. 6 points. He's averaging over 20 in the tournament. He has 6 points in the Elite Eight. That's just hats off to Duke. Carrick says 10 out of 10 times. Rocketown says Duke is just too good. Yeah. Byron chimes back in. Says, one game Sears looked like $1 million. The next game, he couldn't play for high school. I don't know. I think with Sears, I have a lot of respect for his game. I thought he did a lot here at the University of Alabama over the course of his career. He was a really good guard. I'm glad that he did come back. And as you could see inside the poll, most of you feel that Mark Sears is going to be the toughest player to replace out of the 3 that are listed. I don't know, what Phylon will do. I know that he gave a quote to the team reporters that he's, thinking that he is just basically dialed in and that he hasn't had an opportunity to think about going to the NBA or not. I don't know. Do we feel that Phylon comes back? If Phylon comes back, then you have him, Holloway. I'm feeling good about the backcourt. I listed Clifford Moore because you definitely need a big man. But let me finish with Duke. Why they were better in every single aspect. They just had better players. They were able to run, and think about it. Their guard play was better, right? Their big man play was better. So hats off. You have to give credit where credit is due. I don't feel like there was a coaching failure. I don't think that, I thought maybe in the beginning of the game when they first tipped off that the stage seemed a little bit too big for Alabama, which was interesting. Maybe the fact that just playing Duke kind of got to them. But once they settled in, they were within 6 points, and then Duke would come back and bury a three from the outside, and then they go up by 9, then they go up by 11. Duke was a better basketball team, plain and simple. That's it. I don't know who will win the championship. I guess Duke seems to be the favorite. TC has a good comment inside the comment box. Let's get to him. I'll post it when I see it on this side. TC says Duke's length was a problem. 100%. That's what I'm trying to get at. Man, that big dude down low who was 7'2", he was absolutely dominating. Every single player that Duke had was 6'6" or taller, right? Long reach, athletes. Man, 100%. 100%. Hey, Carrick points out that, and I'm going to get to this in just a second, but you do have a transfer that is in town actually today at some point. He's out of Bucknell. He's 7 foot, 250 pounds. Noah Williamson out of Bucknell. We'll dive into more of that in just a second. I'm on the second topic right here. The standard of, hey, we got a Cash App in from Kenneth. What's up, Kenneth? I appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much for the support via Cash App, bro. If you want to support the show, it's Bama_YouTube. Cash App, Bama, YouTube. I appreciate, the super chats, the thumbs up, you guys just being here. But the standard of Alabama hoops where it is right now, you got to be happy with it. 1,000,000%. You have to be happy with where Alabama basketball is. I know that the season didn't end the way that you wanted it to, but if you step back and you look to where Alabama basketball is right now at this point in time and where they continue to go, this is where we want. Now, there's some missing components, and I have some questions here at the bottom of the screen that I'm going to ask you here in a minute that I want you to be honest with me about. But overall, I feel that the standard of Alabama basketball is at a really high level. You got a Final Four run, 2 seasons ago, and then this season, or last season, I guess, Final Four, this season, Elite Eight. This wasn't always the case, right? This hasn't been the case. We've been waiting for this for a long time. So let me ask you inside the comment box, just a simple yes or no. Type Y if you are happy with the standard of Alabama basketball. It should be 100%. And Kenneth, I appreciate the Cash App, man, the tip. Thank you so much, bro. Without question, I'm happy with where Alabama basketball is, 100%. There's no, I saw a rumor out there that, Maryland was interested in Nate Oats recently. Coach Oats isn't going to go to Maryland. He just turned down Texas. He's not going to Maryland. That's not even a lateral move. What Alabama has right now in Nate Oats, and I'm going to talk about Nate Oats in just a second, is the coach that we have been looking for since, I don't know. This is the guy. This is the prototype. This is the absolute coach that you want right here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Hold on to him. Give him a longer contract. I don't know, a long-term. He already has a good contract. He's already set up. But before we get to that, let's get to some other points. Alabama Renegades, like RIP Alabama basketball. Hey, we got another Cash App from Tiffany. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I got a better way to showcase the actual Cash Apps on the screen. But Tiffany, I appreciate you. Again, Bama YouTube and Venmo are good spots. I really appreciate it too. I'm just a content creator, so it definitely goes a long way. Okay, so inside the comment box, I asked a poll right here. It said the toughest player to replace for this coming season: Mark Sears, Grant Nelson, Cliff Amore. At first, I was thinking about Mark Sears, right? And I don't know. I mean, I'm going to talk about each individual player real quick. I feel that you'll be able to replace Mark Sears. I mean, you can never replace Mark Sears, but the guys that you have coming in, I'm not worried about the backcourt because if you get Phylon, you're absolutely fine. And you get Holloway, you're absolutely cooking. Right? Mark Sears did a great thing, and I love the fact that he had experience. He had a great big play mentality. I know he didn't come up, with a lot of points against Duke, but collectively, the guy was money. He did a lot of things for Alabama basketball. For whatever reason, thanks Army 3275. Yeah, Cash App is Bama YouTube. You can see it on the screen right now. And then there's Venmo as well. But I think I think I'm gonna vote. Oh man, so Grant Nelson. There's just something that Grant Nelson had, and he would do a lot when he was 100% healthy. He had some games over the last 2 years that were memorable, big playability, but they shut him down too. Duke. No, I'll remember this play forever. Was when he blocked Flag going for the dunk. That was one of the dopest plays I've seen. He had some monster jams. He had some really good. I like his game. He's going to be tough to replace. Man, I might. This might sound strange, okay? But I might not. Hey, all right. Southern Red is Tiffany. All right. When it comes in, put your username so I can read out your username if you can. All right, Southern Red. Well, we know your name now. Surprise. I don't know if you wanted that out. All right. I might vote for the wild card pick, okay? I might go with Cliff Amore. Okay. Was he great? No. Was he good? Hell yeah. Was he better than what Alabama has had in terms of like an absolute true big man? 100%. 100%. This is the best. Let me ask you this. Do you think this is the best big man that Nate Oats has had during his tenure at Alabama? I might go with him. And the reason is because of my next topic right here. And I'm right here. Lack of true big man. Now, is Amore a big man? Yes, 100%. But in terms of like an elite level big man, I think that is what's stopping Alabama from jumping to that next layer of basketball greatness, right? Duke's big man, oh my goodness, that guy was for real. I don't know what happened with Cliff Amore with the dunks. He missed 2 dunks. I haven't even seen him do that all season. That was weird. I didn't understand that. You have to be able to get let me ask you this. If you get an elite level big man here, 7'2", 250 pounds, this Noah Williamson coming in is 7 foot, 250 pounds. He's averaging 17 points per game last year at Bucknell. You get a dominating big man. You have the backcourt that is already elite. You have Mo Diabate coming back. I think Cliff Amore will be tough to replace. I thought he did a really good job. Now, he wasn't elite, but he's pretty damn good. So I'm going to vote in that 15%. It was a pretty good poll so far. Mark Sears, 46%. Grant Nelson, 38%. And Cliff Amore, 15%. See, Danny's with me. I think maybe you feeling the same way as me, Danny? Is like, I think it's just he was what we needed for a long time. And Larry Large, I'm with you, bro. 1,000,000%. You need a 7 foot absolute dog. Like, if you get somebody, but that's tough to get. What somebody said it's going to cost like $10 million in the transfer portal. I don't know if that's true, but all right. I'm right here. How to beat Nate Oats. Is it as simple as shutting down the outside shots to beat Nate Oats? I don't think we've ever asked this question. There's been a couple I think teams who seem to be a little bit bigger in our athletic, they seem to be, and if Alabama, like, not to necessarily say that they live and die by the three, because most of the season their threes weren't falling. I mean, they had a great outside game, but they weren't like one of the best. It didn't feel like they were one of the best three-point shooting teams that we've seen, since in the, previous years. But a lot of people were talking about, how to beat Nate Oats and kind of what the formula is. Kyle, recognize Kyle inside the comment box, says, look at Houston. Their bigs are nice. They need to buckle down and find them a big. I picked the Maury as well, 100%. Alex, what's up, man? I appreciate the support, Alex. Love catching up with you, bro. That's what Duke did extremely well. Soft in the paint that night. Our team doesn't like getting slapped in the face, Byron says. All right. And then finally, Nate Oats to Alabama. So what Coach Oats has been able to do, and usually, in most of the case, when you lose games like this, and we got a new member coming in, Army 3275. Appreciate it, bro. Thanks for being a fan funder. I appreciate that very much. Every single game, most of the time, you lose a game, it's always on the coach. I feel that Coach Oats certainly had this team ready to go. I don't necessarily know if this game against, and I'm just talking about the Duke game right now. I don't know if this game was X's and O's or it was like Jimmy's and Joe's. Like, I think they just had better players. If you zoom out and you look to what Nate Oats has done at Alabama basketball, I know there's been a lot of graphics out there that have been going out. I've been loving to see it. I mean, first in the SEC twice, right? Actually won the tournament twice. 5 consecutive trips to the NCAA tournament. 2 Sweet 16 showings, 1 Elite 8 showing this past season. And then the year previous, 1 Final Four showing. He has almost a 70% chance to win each basketball game when he steps on the court, 145 and 63. I mean, this was Greg Byrne looks amazing for getting Nate Oats, okay? Okay, we always do this with Coach Kalen DeBoer, and the poor dude just got here, and we're always asking approval ratings for him. What is Coach Nate Oats, even after they lost in the Elite Eight to Duke, what is Nate Oats' approval rating as of March 31st, 2025? On a scale of 1 to 10, what is Coach Nate Oats' approval rating? I think I'm going to say 10, like maxed out. I mean, if anything, like a 9.5 or something like that. What's up? It's My Life. It's My Life says inside the comment box, more dominant athletic big men and bigger physical guards. Yeah, I feel like Alabama's guards, if there's a knock on any of Alabama's guards, they're undersized, right? Real shifty, quick. They don't have like a big 6'7" type guard, and it seems kind of that's the way that we're going. Okay, so we got some good feedback here. We're talking about Nate Oats and his overall approval rating. We got It's My Life says 9, Alex Wilder says 10, Rocket Town says 9. So above, I mean, if we had to average this out, it's definitely like a 9, 9.2, 9.3, even higher. I think the lowest is Larry Large at the 8.5. Clearly, he's the guy. And I don't know if he turned down Texas, and I don't know if they necessarily offered him. He's going to get offers as we go forward. That's just part of it. People are already starting to take away his assistance. Army 3275 gifted a free membership inside the comment box, which was scooped up by Carlos Williams. That's what's up, man. Appreciate you, Army 3275. So he has another assistant underneath Coach Oats who's going to Arkansas State. That's a sign of a quality coach because you can't get the guy. And look, I don't know if Texas, Maryland, like those jobs to me are lateral type jobs. Even though Texas could probably pay you the world, like Alabama is not broke in any shape or form. This is just who can recruit the transfer portal at the highest level, in my opinion. And I think, like Coach Oates said after the game, they lost to Duke. He said 99% of the players out there wouldn't mind swapping places to be in Alabama's position. Kyle chimes back in. He says 8 out of 10 in regards to Nate Oats' approval rating. Says that let's get more physical, a bit longer. He's needed to do that for a couple seasons now. Byron says the backstory is really that Saban contacted Tom Izzo, and Tom recommended Nate Oats to Bama. That's what's up. That'd be amazing. Larry Large says he's got to stress making the free throws, high percentage 2-point shots, more in my opinion. Yeah, they don't really take like mid-range jumpers, right? And if they do, it's like shocking. The other thing is this past season, they turned the ball over. I have to go look at the stats, but they had to have turned the ball over, 500 times or something like that? But they still won by large margins in a lot of those games, even when they did turn over the basketball. Weird. All right, so finalizing the poll, and what we have here is, and just real quick, just type inside the comment box if you haven't had a chance to vote. If you think the toughest player to replace, let's put an end cap to this. And what I wanted to do, I wanted to come back today and close out Alabama's basketball season. I feel like a lot of times in life you don't get like closure on things, but that's like the proper way to do it. It's like have the closure, talk about the loss, talk about the high points, accept the low points, and you move on. So real quick, Mark Sears, he's leaving. Grant Nelson, he's leaving. Amora, he's leaving. They're all grads. They'll move on. So type A for Mark Sears, B for Grant Nelson, and C for Cliff Amore. And right now, the actual poll, and 81 people have voted, have Mark Sears at 46%, Grant Nelson at 41%, and Cliff Amore at 13%. I'm going to type C for the big man. I already explained why. I just feel having a dominant big is really tough to replace. I thought he was good. I don't think he was elite. There's a big difference between the two. Getting somebody in is absolutely critical. You can get in some elite guards. It's not as difficult to get an elite big man. I don't even know if you could do it. But you do have a transfer who is a player from the transfer portal who is visiting the Tide today, right? So you have Noah Williamson. He's visiting. He's out of Bucknell. He's 7 foot, 250 pounds. I'd stay close to your recruiting sites. There's a lot. There's a few transfer portal targets that Alabama has on its radar. I felt that this young man, Williamson, is probably the one that stands out most because it kind of fits into line with what we're talking about, is having a dominating big man that you could bring in. You know what? Williamson at Bucknell, I watched his highlights. Pretty impressive. He scored 17 points per game. Now, I know in Alabama's offense, it's not really designed for a big man to kind of be the dominant player points-wise. But this young man averaged 17 points a game. Now, the big man that Alabama is going to bring in has to be able to run because that up-tempo is clearly a method to Coach Oates' offense, and they have to get back for transitional defense. I mean, that's one of the great things about Duke is they were already back on defense. It was incredible to watch. That was one of the better. I don't even know. Man, is Arizona that good? Because Arizona played it. Duke, within 7-8 points? I would love to get this guy, to be honest. I think there's a target from Florida State that Alabama's going after. I don't think he's necessarily labeled as like a true center. But I think Noah Williamson, I think I would go all in on him. It seems like from watching, 2 minutes of his highlights, reading the backstory, what he did this past season. No, Noah, he's a player. For those of you out there that follow recruiting and transfer portal with the microscope, this is one that you press heavy on. And I'm sure Nate Oats will be visiting with him today, showcasing him not only what Alabama has to offer, but how he would fit in within their system. I think that's what this could make sense. So I haven't seen any sort of like predictions or anything like that. Maybe it's too early for that, but he's on campus today. Can you imagine how busy Nate Oats is? He just literally got here a couple days ago and got to hit the transfer portal hard because you're going to lose so many guys. You got to in basketball. I just saw that Indiana is losing everybody from their whole roster, graduates, transfer portal. You literally are going to have a new roster almost every season. I haven't even really had a chance to think about it. Maybe we'll talk about it later on the week or whatever. But what would Alabama's? You can't even say like starting five right now because they're going to get a transfer or two in, and we don't know about Phylon. I mean, if Phylon comes back, then you have Phylon, you have Holloway, and you have Mo Diabate. I would say those would be like three guys, right? Right, Cell, if he's healthy, there's four. Byron, yeah, what the hell was up with that? I didn't understand how he was missing the dunks like that. That was weird. Two of them, one on each side. All right, let me ask you this inside the comment box, okay? We have the Final Four set. Auburn's taking on Florida. You have Duke taking on Houston. Post who you feel is going to win the NCAA basketball championship. Type out their team name, Auburn, Florida. That takes place on the 5th, as does Duke versus Houston. Who do you think wins the whole thing? I mean, at this point, just after taking a ASS kicking from Duke, I kind of feel that Duke, I don't know. Let's see what you guys have to say. Army 3275, first in. He has Duke. Oh, Ricky Smith was first in. He says Florida, Duke, Houston. And I'm sure it'll be a variety of who you guys think is going to win. No one's going to say Auburn, I don't think. Not on this channel, at least. Oh, wow. Mike Rodak just posted that Kansas Junior, Rylan Griffin, has just entered the transfer portal. Ooh, that's interesting. Come back home. Would we like if Rylan Griffin came back? I wouldn't be mad at that. Duke, Florida. Duke, I think Florida. Patrick Spencer has, I think I might go with Patrick Spencer. What's up, Patrick? Appreciate you being here, bro. Patrick Spencer has Duke beating Florida. I kind of like this one. Bama still says Duke, but he'll be rooting for Houston. Damn, Max Tooney, is that right? Duke has 15 wins in a row? That team was so good. Coach Oates left an assistant coach in Tuscaloosa during the Elite Eight to make phone calls to portal players. Yeah, wasn't that was Preston Murphy, right? That's why, look, in college basketball and in football, the same. I feel that recruiting has changed so much because we used to be so excited about, and it's still excited to talk football recruiting for a little bit for like high school players. But unfortunately, high school football recruiting is now second fiddle to college transfer portal recruiting. And the thing is, you don't know which transfer portal players are going to enter the portal because it just happens. But it's way more exciting than, those old articles that used to. Remember, we used to read those recruiting articles, and it's still exciting for a little bit, but it's nothing compared to the transfer portal excitement because you know that more than likely the transfer portal players that are coming in are going to be instant starters. Whereas these high school football players now, you have to pay them this ridiculous amount up front. Maybe up front, but then you have to hope that the player sticks around until signing day. It's crazy. Antonio, what's up, man? Has Florida versus Houston, and Houston winning the trophy, taking on the Nets. Army 3275 fires back and says, being a pro coach is much better now with the portal. 100%. And I think it goes for not only college basketball, but I think, or for NBA, but I think for NFL the same. I think coaching in the NFL is much better than coaching in college right now. There's no guardrails. They're trying to make a little bit of guardrails in college, but it's not the same. And there's a tweet that just came out, something about Caleb Downs. Ohio State landed a major recruiting upset and potential package to post Caleb Downs' future Buckeyes. Oh, just something about. I have so many people on watch because right now during this time there's so much news that's happening. But I think so far the most interesting thing is Rylan Griffin into the transfer portal, right? Went to Kansas. I don't know. Would we be interested in him? I think we would. All right, turning the page to football. Alabama football resumes its spring practice today on March 31st. This will be its 9th practice of the spring season, working towards the 8-day practice on April 12th, okay? I think when you look to Alabama football and where it's at this point in time, the thing I want you to think about as I run through these topics real quick is the last point. Just don't answer yet. We'll answer on the back end, but let me build it up to it. But just be thinking about this. Do you feel that if these two teams were to play on April 12th, Alabama 2025, the roster that we have right now, versus Alabama 2024, who do you think would win? Don't answer now. Be thinking about it. 2025 roster versus 2024 roster. Which team would win? But I think as you enter practice today, one of the things that we have to take into consideration and one of the things that we have to monitor is the continued steps forward at the quarterback position. Once again, we're talking about the quarterback position. We're going to. Ty Simpson had himself a hell of a scrimmage last week. Can he maintain that momentum going into this second pivotal scrimmage, which is on Friday? So Alabama will hold another scrimmage on Friday. And I want to see if there's a quarterback that takes another step forward along with Ty Simpson, or if Ty Simpson takes a step forward with somebody else, but also maintains that command of the room. We want a quarterback to take hold of this room by the end of spring practice. I don't think there's going to be a quarterback named at the end of spring practice. I really don't, because it would be silly to do because there's still plenty of competition to take place in August. But I would like to end A-Day with a number one quarterback. Not officially named or anything like that, but kind of like knowing that this is the guy that really made major steps forward. And it seems like right now, Ty Simpson is that guy. Don't let that upset you if you're pulling for another quarterback. This is a good thing. Competition is paramount. Competition is what makes all these guys work that much harder every single day during the summertime getting to the season. If you've ever been in competition, you're working harder, right? Anybody ever been a little bit better than you? What do? Just throw in the towel? Where's your competitive spirit? You got to chase Ty. If Ty's the guy right now, chase him. And I'm happy for Ty to have his big scrimmage week. I guess it was 3 touchdown passes that he threw to Isaiah Horton. I told you a million times before, Isaiah Horton's coming to be an absolute starter here. I didn't hear too much about the running back usage. I'll follow up with that later on this week. And that's something that I'm also watching as we go forward is how does Ryan Grubb utilize the running backs right now, and what is kind of the overall philosophy going into the season with the running back room? Antoine, my boy, inside the comment box, chimes in and says, even even without Tyler Booker, I think we can easily get better on the line this year. I think we will be better at quarterback, which will make the wide receivers better. Running back room will be better too without having to force feed 22. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see the offensive line and who's able to develop on the offensive line. That's another area that we're certainly watching too. And you have to keep in mind, and something that Coach Kalen DeBoer said last week, this was very important. He said that people think that Alabama isn't having a spring game because of the transfer portal. He said that's not necessarily true. It's like they're limited in numbers. So they can't really have like a true 1 versus 2. I don't know. I mean, Coach Saban always figured out how to have a, steak and beans championship. But whatever. I mean, here we are. But remember, the next scrimmage is Friday. As we talk about competition and position battles, I would like some feedback inside the comment box. Where are you seeing competition within this team right now? I'll tell you one, I'm hearing competition in the corner room already with the defensive backs because of Dejon Lee and his playmaking ability and how well he's done. He might be along with Keelan Russell. I think that Dejon Lee is going to add a lot of competition at the corner position. Byron chimes in and says that the great Tim Watts says that Keelan Russell is coming up in the rear fast. Look, I love this whole quarterback topic going into the season. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I bet you that their room in terms of like the offense, Ryan Grubb, Kalen DeBoer, Nick Sheridan, I bet they're like, all right, man, we got ourselves some ballers back here. What makes most sense for us right now to win a championship like this year? Who's the guy that can get it done right now and maintain that level? I think the two guys that certainly stood out, Dejon Lee and Keelan Russell. And you know who else had a really good scrimmage was, guess who? Lazier Brooks. We got JTL up in the house. JTL is an LSU fan. You guys have a 6-foot corner too? That's what's up. I love the corners. Even the corner that Alabama just landed from the class of 2026, he's even tall. Right? Jordan Edmonds. Yes, but Lazier Brooks was a problem this last scrimmage too. He's just hard to keep off the field. All right. Are there any other position battles out there that you're hearing, that you're seeing? I think the corner position, that's one area that I'm hearing, because what's interesting is with Damani Jackson being out for an undisclosed injury or whatever, Dejon Lee has really upped and had opportunities to push forward. And Xavier Brown's right there as well. Patriot Life, fresh coming off his birthday from 2 weeks ago? Patriot Life even fought through the flu, comes back, and he gives 5 fan funderships. That's what's up, man. Thank you, Patriot Life. We appreciate you, bro. XZ Coma NDOZX. Inside the comment box, heard anything about Derek Meadows? Not in particular, not from any of the people that I talked to close to the program, but kind of going off what Coach Kalen DeBoer said is that compared to all the wide receivers out there, he certainly stands out. I mean, he's 6'6", right? But I haven't heard any key update, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, sometimes I hear good things on players, sometimes I just don't hear stuff. Jermaine Mims is hearing that Abdul Sanders playing well. That's really great. Abdul Sanders is another freshman at the inside linebacker position that is getting opportunities. Southern Red, the latest update from Coach Kalen DeBoer, fantastic question, by the way, is kind of an update on the kicking game. Coach Kalen DeBoer said following the scrimmage that Connor Talty had a really good showing and didn't miss any kicks. I've said this many times. I feel that that's probably the biggest concern going into the season is the special teams game. Kicking, punting. If you have everything else tightened up and you're playing this fantastic game and you're A+s across the board and you're like a C+ within your special teams, that's not championship level football. And you have to replace Graham Nicholson, before that Will Reichert, and now James Burnup. It's tough to do. Shiesty inside the comment box says, I think people think Ty deserves to start because there is so long, but I think Keelan will start and Simpson will transfer. You know, there's a lot of people feel that that's the main reason that Coach Kalen DeBoer right now can't name a quarterback. I think it's because he's just letting these guys battle out. But you could also look to, if he was to name a starting quarterback right now, you're going to lose someone automatically in the transfer portal on April 15th. I just think that the quarterback competition, even despite Ty, having a good showing on this last spring practice, I think that the quarterback battle is very tight. I don't think that's just like a rumor. I think you have 3 quality quarterbacks capable of commanding the team. Imagine how much more experience even Keelan Russell is going to be by September. It's March. You think like after the spring football, like on April 12th, Keelan Russell just goes home and plays video games all day and just like eats popsicles and just kicks it? No. He's doing the same thing individually with, individual coaches, or, he'll be working out with some of his teammates all season long. Herman, what's up, man? Good to see you, bro. No, man, you don't get a tardy ever, man. This is interesting. Jermaine says, I think Ty and Isaiah Horton have a history at camps together in Tennessee. Interesting. I didn't see that. That would be interesting. I now that you're saying it could make sense. I never heard that before. Ryan says, imagine if Keelan gave Kalen DeBoer an ultimatum. No. Oh, man. That's the tinfoil hat. Who knows? College football is crazy now. I don't think, that happens, but who the hell knows? Army 3275 says Keelan has the biggest upside in long term, but if Ty will get off experience, I'm happy with that. The bottom line is just play the best guy who can be the most consistent. Another opportunities for these guys to take steps forward this Friday in Alabama's next scrimmage. All right, so I wanted to ask you, the back end of the show, you've had time to think about it. And don't say, like, now isn't always better. Sometimes, maybe another team was better. I don't know. But if spring football was to be played between 2025, the roster we have right now, and let me put it this way. Everyone's healthy. Because right now, you have a couple guys out. But let's say you have a very healthy 2025 Alabama team, and they played 2024 Alabama at the springtime, like, the April 1st roster versus the April 1st roster of last year. Which team do you think is a better team? Not who would win, who is a better team top to bottom? Type 25 or type 24 inside the comment box. A lot of people going with 2025 right away. One of the biggest areas that I think makes me want to vote for 2025 as well is the defensive standpoint. I know there's a lot of components on offense, and we all feel that the quarterback is going to be better than Milroe going forward. But my biggest reasons that I feel 2025 has the edge, I think the 2 biggest reasons. Number one is the defense, and particularly the defensive secondary. Last year at this point in time, we had no clue what the defensive secondary would look like and how good that they would be. No clue. You only had Malachi Moore and a little bit of Devontae Smith coming back in the secondary, right? You had no idea how Kane Womack's defense was going to formulate onto the field schematic-wise. It took time for the secondary to build kind of that cohesiveness. And I think just right away, looking at the secondary right now compared to 2024, it's not even a comparison. I think right now, and I know it's hard, they haven't played a game or whatever, but if everybody is healthy, I would probably list Alabama's secondary on a scale of 1 to 10, probably like 8.5. I think it's one of their biggest strengths, okay? If they're healthy at the inside linebacker position, that's their most experienced department, right? Justin Jefferson healthy, Deontay Lawson healthy, Nakai Hill-Green healthy. Think about all those returners. I think the Wolf position with Quay coming back, with Jamarian Lathan coming back. Interior defensive lineman, really high quality. Tim Keenan, he's older. James Smith, whenever he's healthy, he'll be the guy. We've had breakthroughs from Jeremiah Buman, Edric Hill. Fromm's quick to point out that 2025 hasn't been battle tested yet. And I will say this, though, but you do have a lot of those guys from 2025 that finally played a season together and come back with a lot of experience underneath this coaching staff, right? Like, you have so many guys coming back that finally played together. LT Overton's back. Deontay Lawson's back. Justin Jefferson's back. Quay Rusaw's back. Damani Jackson's back. Keon Sabb's back. Bray Hubbard, he's back. Now, you had to add a couple different points. Xavier Brown's back, right? You had to add a couple different components, but I think that defense is battle-tested. And they did get better on the back end of the season. Now, on the offensive side, I don't know if the offensive line is going to be better or worse. I would hope that it's better. I think the running backs will be better, more experienced. The wide receivers, 1,000,000% will be better than they were last year. Think about a year 2 Ryan Williams versus a year 1 Ryan Williams. The quarterback play, we all feel it should be better. But the biggest reason I feel that 2025 Alabama is better than 2024 Alabama is, shocker, Ryan Grubb. I think that Ryan Grubb will be able to turn up the heat offensively and really help the offense take a step forward. Now, special teams wise, I'd probably give the edge to 2024 just because, I mean, James Burnup's better than the kicker you have now. I would imagine that Graham Nicholson is better than Connor Talty, just because he had more experience. But just something interesting to think about. And I think what I'm trying to high point is I feel that Alabama football will be better this season for the points that I just went over. Year 2, tracks are laid, a lot of returners on the defensive side, tons of playmakers at wide receiver, and a much more experienced offensive coordinator. Much more experienced offensive coordinator. And I don't think there'd be many people out there that felt if you just looked at 2024 roster in 2025, there'd be a lot of people picking 2024. Now, just be cautiously optimistic, because the one area that will bring you back down to earth when you start to feel really excited about 2025 is just that schedule. The schedule's, in my opinion, and now if I was to ask you the same thing, is the schedule harder this year than last year? I think it is harder this year compared to last year. That's why the team is going to be better than they were last year. I just think it is still going to be very challenging to even make the playoffs based on how the playoffs are designed and the teams they take into the actual playoffs. But I don't know right now if the offensive line is better than the offensive line last year. I don't know, maybe the tight end play was a little bit better last year at this point in time than this year, but we just got to see what Josh Cuevas can do in a spotlight situation, right? Danny Lewis, haven't heard a thing about him. But that's my show today, fam. I appreciate you guys for rocking with me. Today is Monday. It is March 31st. Alabama has practiced 3 times this week in a scrimmage again on Friday. As news happens, I got you covered right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Please follow us on Facebook. I appreciate the continued support. You can become a fan funder inside the comment box. You can hit me with a super chat, or you can hit me on Venmo, Cash App, or you could just drop a thumbs up or just simple comments inside the comment box. I really appreciate you guys' continued support inside the product. We had a wonderful March. We are cooking. It was fun to talk some Alabama football and, of course, Alabama basketball. The Tide ends its season in New Jersey, losing to Duke, to what I feel will be the eventual national champion. So we'll see how that goes. I appreciate you guys rocking, and thank you so much for being here right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Oh, old man points out that Danny Lewis hurt. Yeah, that's what I thought. But I'm glad he's back because I know he did enter the transfer portal. I've always been a fan of Danny Lewis, to be honest. 6'5", 265, whatever. Big dude. Have an amazing Monday. I'll be back as news happens. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama on this fine Monday, March 31st. Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. See you, fam. Love you.